celebrate for 24 hours. With this being such a historic victory, we extended it another 24 hours. So we still celebrating. We just got out the pool. We just had, no, I'm just playing. It's back to status quo. We've had our time. We've enjoyed it, realized, just kind of mapped out how do we get to this point. And now here comes the other thing. We don't want to be a one-hit wonder. So now we back to our normal preparation of trying to get ready to go out and compete and give 100% and put our best foot forward for this week.
Questions, guys?
Coach, already just in your demeanor, it's a much better on a winning Monday. I can tell that for certainly. Kind of two things I want to jump out the gate with, and let me start with this. How much different was the tone of, well, was there honest Sunday in the same fashion this past weekend?
Absolutely. The tone was more of since we got the ultimate goal is at the end is WLs, right? But the goal is the process. And what are we doing this process? Well, the honest Sunday was we got on the track. We're on the tracks. Now, what are we going to do since we're on the track? And again, just going through our normal process of picking out different plays in all phases. I call it the good, the bad, the ugly. This, to me, was about, wow, look how many plays we left out there. Now, it was a 37-36 game. And DC, Barlow, and probably feeling the same way that they left some stuff out there. Same thing on this side. So it wasn't, and the point to them, like I try to get across to you guys, this was for us, no fluke, no, man, we got lucky. This has been a build-up. And I've been saying it for weeks, and we finally got some pieces in place that we really, really like that can help us. And I think this is just the start of something special.
And for what it's worth, to add to that, Coach Barlow said in his time before you came out post-game that he had seen you guys building up to the point, and obviously he would have preferred it not to be against him, but he had seen you guys were building. And speaking of building, I was talking to CJ Holmes in the locker room afterward, and in my own, granted, I don't have a football mind like yours. I'm not a head coach of a professional football team. But one thing that kind of stood out was different, an opportunity you kind of had that no other XFL teams had to this point, is your opponent played the Monday previous. Did you guys kind of use that to scout and what was going on? Because I couldn't help but notice Jordan Tiamu has his best passing game of the year. That might have altered your preparation some, maybe seeing him sling it a little bit more than he had in the past.
No, they actually showed us something the game before that, Vegas, that he can throw it, the double moves. We knew that they was not going to change a lot because of the short week, but also because of how the season is. This part of the season, a lot of teams don't change. I think that's the difference between us and them. We are still evolving. We've created a somewhat of identity now, especially offensively. We're still figuring out some things defensively and on the special team. So the thing is, we are trying to get better. We're trying to push ourselves to the limit.
Good afternoon, Coach. Happy Victory Monday.
Thank you. I like the sound of that. I want about 5 more of those.
Yeah, I know it was seeming like Groundhog Day before that.
Yeah.
You got the victory. You seem to have righted the ship on offense. You guys are putting up points consistently, moving the football consistently. What is it now you're looking at as far as defensively to kind of get the points under control? Because, while you're scoring, you're still giving up a lot of points.
It's this combination of from the field position on special team, which, like I said before, you address one thing, something else comes up, right? So we spend a lot of time addressing the special teams with the personnel. We've been addressing some things on defense. We're still trying to figure out, there's a couple of things that you have to have defensively that's hurting us. A pass rush and some guys in the back end that can make some plays for you, right? That can get you out of a bad situation. So we're struggling with those a little bit. So we just got to keep, we can put our minds together and figure out a way that we can keep these points, get them down to, I don't know what the league average is now. I would say it's probably around 20-some points. So you figure if you can average 28 and you can keep your opponents down to 20 in the low 20s, then your chances of winning are pretty good. That's kind of what DC was doing. Just look at and how you get there. I think too is a big thing that we've been really, really concerned with, which is turnovers and penalties. We lowered our penalties and we had 2 turnovers. So we still have a lot of room to improve. We still have a lot of work to do.
And also, it's your last home game before you basically become the designated homeless. How are you guys preparing for this last home game and then knowing that you're road warriors after this?
I mean, we're going to come and do what we do. We will improve. Like I tell you guys every week, we will improve. We don't have a choice. The way that we're built, coaches, and the way my attitude is, that there's no, again, we're expected to win and we're going to expect to get better. What we really want is come down, since this is our last home game, regular season game, is to pack the stadium and really, really show the fans how we appreciate them, even during these trying times, that we really appreciate you coming out and still supporting us. And how we reward you is coming out playing hard and taking care of business.
Coach, you're not one to make excuses, but there is things we've alluded to, that this first half of the year leading into this DC game, there were just a number of challenges that took place that were kind of out of your control, right? Playing the Roughnecks twice, having a very difficult home schedule at this point. Easily, you'd probably agree that this is the harder part of your schedule, and then there's other things that come up. You take a little bit to find the quarterback position and get that all worked out. You see Dormady coming out throwing for nearly 300, right? And you're kind of getting to the weaker part of your schedule. You mentioned that 33.3%. Would you say some of the stuff that's out of your control is starting to break your way upcoming here?
Absolutely. And I would say, for just being fair to everybody else in the league, we had a pool and you draft guys. And for us, some of the guys that obviously we thought that was going to be our better players, it didn't pan out. Just giving credit to everybody else in the staff, to the organization, that we realized that very early, and we had to start making moves. I want to say our number is, I think it's around 26 or 28 new guys from the opening day roster. So that takes guts and courage, because we do see a future. You give us this roster right now, as we continue to improve, then the beginning of the season would be totally different. So just giving kudos to the other teams for what they did. Sometimes the tide turns, right? And some of the stuff we dealt with early, they end up dealing with late. And now we can get going and see, can we get on a winning streak? So this is very exciting. This is what you love about sports. This is what I love about the XFL. This is the opportunity I'm talking about. As for me, especially, that a position coach that felt like I was a head coach material. And everybody asks, well, how do you handle this? How do you handle that? That's kind of like the interview questions. And you sit there and be like, well, I would like to handle it this way. I would like for this not to happen. But until you experience it, until you give somebody that opportunity, you don't know how they're going to handle it. And that's the blessing of all this. And I'm just, again, so thankful and honored for this opportunity, for the ownership group, for the personnel people, and Russ Brandon, Doug Whaley, and Mark Ross for giving myself this opportunity, and Reggie. It's unique. And I just want to tell y'all, it's like, before we played DC, we on a plane together, and all of us are friends, some more than others, buddies. And I go back and talk to Barlow before the game. I mean, on the plane. talk to them. We talked before, we talk afterwards. So we're in communication, and that's one of the things you really like. First-class organization, first-class competition, and then afterwards, you're still like Hines and I. We still got a golf match after the season that's coming up. We're gonna take care of business on the course. On the field, and then we're gonna get together on the golf course.
Coach, any chance you'll charge admission so we can hear some of the trash talk? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we will. It's some now.
And let me ask this: with that in mind, too, I think one element of that conversation on the course that's going to come up is KD Cannon and his contribution in this game. You already know where I'm going with being on that roster at 1.2. Did he bring you anything intel-wise over and above catching that awesome play that he did for the touchdown?
No. We line up, and the one thing that he brought that we like is SPEED, speed. That's all we want to know. Can you run? How do you feel? That's all we need to know. We know how to use you.
Coach, just a couple of weeks ago, you're winless. You're still looking for your first win, trying to salvage your season. Here you are, you get your first win, and the field seems to be coming back to you guys to the point where your playoff chances are actually increasing because you've won. Teams are falling backwards to you. How are you telling the guys, sorry for the helicopter in the background, how are you guys feeling about that situation, knowing that, hey, even though we had a rough start, it's still all there for us?
Well, you can't hide from it. We actually put that on the board on this Sunday and said, here we are. This is the deal. Bam, get that out the way. So it ain't no discussion. Now, let's get back to this process. Again, how do we get on the tracks? This is what we're going to do. We can't control any of that. All we can do is control what we can control, how we're going to prepare, and moving forward, this is what we're going to do. And I gave him the story of the Formula One drivers, from Lewis Hamilton to now the hottest guy, Max Verstappen, who I love. He has the fastest car. Red Bull of all companies has the fastest car in Formula One, and he knows that. But his preparation is second to none. We steps on the track. I want to say he's 95% wins now over the last 35 races. That's and now I'm a Formula One fan, but I'm telling them that to say we're on the track. We are a good team. We have good players. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to sit back and pat ourselves on the back? Or are we going to get back to work and earn the win? Earn that second win and that third and fourth. Just keep moving forward.
Coach, from your perspective, since you're going to be hosting the Arlington Renegades, getting back to work and having the players do that, especially after having such a high this week, does having a team that you need to give it back to a little bit kind of help the process of getting them up and ready to go?
No, you know what? They've been really, really good. The whole attitude. And what we do as a staff from the way we practice, I'll tell you guys after the season, but we do some unique things leading up to practice. I'll just tell you one of the things we did yesterday. We had pool workout. The workout was pool instead of lifting weights and doing up pool push-ups. Old school, service workout. So we do things kind of the way I always felt like. I remember we played Seattle, my Jimmy Johnson last year, my last year with Jimmy. We played Seattle, we beat Seattle in the playoffs. It was a Sunday game. And then we turn around, we fly out there, last game in the Kingdom, which, by the way, your guy had to pick last interception in the Kingdom, Seattle Kingdom. And we fly back and we do what we normally do. We was playing that Saturday, Jacksonville Jaguar. And we went out and passed. And everybody was like, wow, man, we just flew. This is the playoff in the game. Of course, we got beat by like 40 because nobody was in the game. Legs were dead. And the coaches, Jimmy, like, oh man, we might have worked too hard that week. We might. So this staff, obviously with me heading it, we will make adjustments based on where we at, how does the team look during the season, and it started a couple of weeks ago, and you're starting to see it on the field.
You mentioned making adjustments. I got to ask this here before Jeff gets back in, because you're talking about making adjustments, and you've made statements that a lot of the teams are starting to lock in, and you know what they're going to kind of do. They're going to do the same thing. However, were I Arlington's coach, I'd have questions because you've made significant changes. You are not the same group. If you're trying to prepare for you at this point, like, how do you know what the Orlando Guardians are going to come out with?
You don't. And that's what I really like. And I was talking to Shane this morning, along with Coach Ford, other guys, that let's be innovative. We're not going to do the same thing. I refuse to let us do the same thing. I mean, even defensively, we try something. I mean, we were blitzing so much. I call them heated up. And so we're trying to figure out where we fit and what we're going to do. And offensively, I want us to be the scariest offense in the league, because you don't know. We want to create matchups. And that's why you keep making adjustments and build a roster and add this and subtract that and add this. And now you look up, you have no idea what we're going to do.
Coach, we talked about the offense a little bit earlier. You just mentioned Shane Matthews. We've seen the difference in the play calling, but as far as the execution on the field from the quarterback position, you're seeing a lot more risk taking from the quarterback position as opposed to early in the season where a lot of guys seem to play tentative.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's more just Quentin's mentality, or is it just he's buying into the take the risk approach?
He's buying into it, and I think you have to give Quentin a lot of credit too. That obviously he has to do it. We can sit over, and that's one of the things I've had to get used to. I can be all into it and want to do this and see all these plays out there, but I'm not playing. So our job as coaches is to get that vision, get that game plan, get what we see to the players so they can see it and execute it. They always say you have that quarterback, that point guard is a quarterback or extension of the coach. When they have a head coach, I always tell them, man, I got ice in my veins. They say, I'm cool. I believe in, that's why that thing is fearless. That if it's built right and it's sound, just like our throwbacks, hey man, we're gonna run them. And you have an option. They always ask it, they ask me, Coach, when are we gonna call this? When are we gonna call it? And we've been through that the first couple of weeks. A couple of weeks we had some stuff and they didn't call it. So I took over that last week. I'm like, there's no when we're gonna do it. The first time we get opportunity. So nobody has to ask no question. I don't care what the look is. I don't care who's out there. Do it. And that's kind of the attitude that we want to have, guys. That we play to win. And does it work all the time? You watch Michael Jordan, he missed more shots he's made, but he's not afraid to take them.
Coach, I'm curious because you're a first-year head coach here in the XFL doing the thing there, and you talk about getting over that I'm not the one playing concept. Would you say that's kind of something you're learning to build and get past as that rookie head coach?
Well, I've got being a coach the last 16 years, I think probably after my 5th year as assistant coach, coaching DBs, that, I got over like, man, I would have had 12 picks on there. I would have, like, how can you not make that play? Like and then I got to work. Okay, that's not me. That's not Deion. That's not Antonio Cromartie. It's not none of the real Reeves. So let's get out here and coach and teach and develop guys so they can make them plays. So it's been a decade that I haven't. Now every now and then during practice, I get some guys that'll challenge me, and I have to show them. We do it all: basketball, racing, catching. punt return. I still catch punts and show them, you tell them keep the hands up, keep the ball in, look it in, see the ball at the foot. And they like, oh man, it's hard. Okay, move out of the way. I'm gonna show you. And then bam, we get that out the way and we start moving forward.
Terrell, what kind of looks do you get from guys when you do that, when you step up and you're able to make those plays and things like that with those guys against you?
That, ooh, oh my gosh, you can still, and this is the next question, Coach, how old are you? Like, wow, I told them I'm young enough to still do this, and I run, because they think, and you start doing that, and it's like, are you really that old? Like they think I'm really younger than I am because I can still do that. But again, that goes to the teaching part, right? Are you a pro or a professional? I try to break those up. I know it's a professional is not for me. I don't have to tell you to go stretch. I don't have to tell you to be in the best shape of your life. I don't have to tell you to study extra. I don't have to tell you to ask questions. So when I'm ready, when I step under there and I'm about to catch a punt, you have to believe that for me, I've got up early, I've gotten the workout in, I've gotten a 30-minute, I try to do at least a 30-minute stretch every day. I still work out a little bit. And then we do this thing, starts. And then, we race. And I always tell them I cannot run anybody 10 yards right now on my movement. And the biggest thing on that is the preparation, that if you always are ready, then you don't have to get ready.
Terrell, I was going to ask, sorry if you might have been asked this already, but, what can a win when you guys got this past Saturday, how can you kind of parlay that into maybe some sort of win streak? I mean, you've been part of teams that have done that, maybe that have come out and taken a win and been able to turn into something. What do you guys need to do that, to be able to turn this into something?
Absolutely, I've done that. We was 1-4 with New England, our first Super Bowl. So great experience with that. What you do is keep doing what you've been doing. And only thing I told them, we are on the tracks now. What are we gonna do now that we're on the track? We've been trying to get on the tracks. We finally on the tracks. Let's go. Which is keep doing the little things, paying attention to the detail. And nobody's patting their back, except on the back. I won't allow that. The coaches ain't gonna allow that. So our goal is to be a quarter better than we were last week.
Was there some moment on Saturday night that stands out to you outside of obviously the win, but is there some moment maybe whether it's celebration, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a text, something maybe that kind of would stand out for you for a long time?
Yes, I have a knot on the side of my head from them hitting me with the bucket of water. And then my shoe came off. They hit me so hard, I'm still taking Tylenol. I think I got a mild concussion. They hit me so hard where I came out of my darn shoes and they was tied up. I'll never forget that. So that with getting hit in the head and being wet and being hoarse, a lot of good things happen. And that's gonna be a memory, obviously, I'll never forget about it.
Was that at the end of the game? I mean, when they were jumping the water, bucket on the horse, that's when you got hit in the head? Okay.
Hit in the head, I'm trying to go out and hug Barlow and everything, and bam, and flipping, and man, I was like, what is going on out here? Why? And then I feel the side of my head, it's like, okay, I got a knot.
I wanted to ask about Quinton Dormady, obviously, the performance he put together in the last 3 weeks. You guys have been knocking on that door, but then, he was able to kind of continue to do what he's been doing in this past week, obviously this past weekend, to help you guys out.
Absolutely. And the thing about speaking to Quinton yesterday, what winners do, what professionals do, is you acknowledge the performance, and then you dive into how can I even be better? And that's where talking to him, I feel like, I can even be better, which comes through the team. That was nice, guys. We had a great time. So woo-hoo. Now let's get back to work and even get better, because we're still not our goals and everything we had from the beginning of the year are still in front of us, right in front of us. So let's take advantage of it.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, real quick. Sorry, I don't want to dictate, but Terrell, what, going into this it's going to be your last home game in Orlando. How, you obviously get a win last week. How would this another win in front of the home crowd, the last home game, how would that kind of help a little bit what the season has been like?
Oh, it'd be huge. We, getting a win in front of our fans who've been so supportive of us, coming to every game, it would be special. And that's what I'm kind of telling the players. Like, if you play for something that's bigger than you, and in this case, our hometown, the Orlando area, the Central Florida, just to show our appreciation for the support in this beginning of this trying season, that we want to reward them at the end for supporting us the way they have in the beginning.
Was there something that a player said to you afterwards? I mean, for some of these guys, they may not have won a game in 2, 3 years, 4 years, depending on where they've been at. Did anyone come up to you maybe and thank you and talk to you a little bit about this kind of opportunity and getting that point to this point?
Oh man, a bunch of guys, and all they said was thank you. Some of them crying a little bit. I felt like I was crying. I was so wet. But just thank you. Kind of that thank you for being who you are and for pushing us and helping us realize what type of players and people we could be and should be. Just being a consistent person, a consistent example.
Where would you rank this win among the ones you had?
Ooh, besides the Super Bowl, it is in the top 5. Super Bowl is number 1. Number 1. I can't get no better. But this is in the top 4 up in there. This is special. I mean, to get your first, no matter what it is, I don't care what you're doing, is always the toughest and one of the most gratifying feelings, accomplishments that you could have.
Coach, we've talked with you about the 33.3% net road to get into the playoffs. Knowing that that's going on, practice, preparation, are you in playoff atmosphere right now? Oh,
yes. I mean, we got 3 games left. We're going to take it, obviously, one day at a time, one practice at a time, all those cliche things. But we, ain't nowhere high. You think about golf. You think about Phil Mickelson at Winged Foot. I mean, you're up 2 strokes. You know you're up 2. Hit an iron off the tee. Or the guy at the British Open, right? Up 3, hitting into the creek. Knowing it, why are you hitting the driver? You got 3-stroke lead. So we are aware of our situation, and it's our job, my job, to make sure that, we play to win. I keep telling y'all guys. It's like I'm watching one of the games that I've always been that way. And then just a little ice on the cake was New England, Atlanta. Where you want to watch the clock, you're up 28-3 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Just mathematically, that's almost impossible to come back. If Atlanta just lines up in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, and just run, take their time, let the clock run down, you can't win. Right? So I tell the guys, and I got all these notes, y'all like to see me. I started something last week. I don't know if you guys noticed, but instead of just, everybody makes fun of me. They talk about my sideline. I'm just, it's like just passion. I be into the game. It's like come on, right? So now I'm taking a notepad. Somebody gave me, one of my kids gave me, and a little binder, a little bit, not put in the back of my pocket. So when I'm feeling it, instead of letting the world hear, I just write it down. Something, keep some of this stuff in, because, as a former player and a competitor, right? One of the things that I really, now I knew this about myself. I didn't listen to music before the game. I wasn't a trash talker like some people think. I just played, and I played hard. When I got fired up, though, it was the heat would come from the ground. So I felt like it was coming from my feet, just all the way up my body. And that was sustainable for me. I could when it came that way naturally, I can go. And I should tell the guys, you better bring your lunch pad because I can freaking go all day you want to. And that happens too in on the side of coaching. And my players, when they make fun of me, man, it is like when they do little shows about how, I act on the sideline, it is funny. It's even funny to me. But at the time, obviously, it's not funny. And they know it's real, though, and it's passion, because I don't, like I always tell people, I'm not out of control. It's not in that, because I don't, and it's just passion for it, and the language I use, that's natural. That's how it's been my whole life.
Terrell, could you, I mean, this is a bigger kind of question, overview question, but would it have benefited the league to have a preseason? Do you think? I mean, you guys, it feels like you guys got going, a couple games into the season, really got started to get clicking, but would having an extra game or two to start things off would have helped you guys a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys could have came up about $15, $20 more million, we probably could have had one. hey, we could have even had some OT. We could have had some OTA days too.
I'll check my couch cushions, Coach.
Hey, but the bottom line is, in fairness to everybody too, that got off to a hot shot, everybody had to go through it. So, but yes, you guys put it in the pot, check your bank account. Hey, add a little bit of that to it. We could do a lot of things different.
Needless to say, Coach, before, as I say, this was definitely a fun one this week, but you've established, you got that kind of a playoff mentality piece. You were creative on offense that you mentioned. I was talking to CJ Holmes. He said he felt like that he and the DB core were trusted a lot on islands, with what was going on. I mean, I guess is aggression, that fearless aspect, is that kind of a signature for your defense as well?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. Now, we don't want to be fearless and reckless at the same time, right? So they was doing some things that we had to. It was one of those, slow leak. We can make some plays like the 3rd and 14, the whole thing. We didn't blitz correctly, so we left the DBs out there counter. If we blitz correctly and everybody get up in the line like they're supposed to, the quarterback don't stand there, step up in the ball, have 5 seconds, throw a ball over the middle, and then, the corner miss a tackle and he goes for 80. You wish, okay, well, let me have that call back and let's play a soft zone. And then they run a 15-yard stop in front of you and catch you, and now you're mad, which that's happened to us. And you're like, oh my God, why are we playing this zone? What you guys would say prevent in the 2 minute. We did that the following week that cost us 3 points. So believe me, when I tell you, we are looking and trying everything possible to figure out what's the right combination, and trying to be very, very smart and strategic in what we're calling, what we're doing. And I still give Tony a lot of credit, because you still need players. You still need, and we, I mean, if you guys knew how many different calls and stuff that we actually have called and what we've done, you'd be like, wow, I can't even think that many calls. And we're still trying to figure it out.
Coach, you doing okay on time? I know we've had a few people join us here.
Hey, man, it is Victory Monday. I got plenty of time. I've been up since 5 o'clock. I've done all my work. Listen, I've done all my work. I worked out. I hit some golf ball. I got a new driver. I mean, I'm fired up.
Listen to this. I love it. Coach, let's talk a little bit about special teams. Y'all got creative this past game with some cross the field throws, and I was waiting for a reverse, but I didn't see it. What was it that you guys saw in the film with DC's kick coverage that told you that this was the week to do that?
Well, it wasn't necessarily DC. It just this is the week that I didn't give them a choice. We was gonna run that on doing it for weeks, and we just wouldn't call it. And I'm still, man, we had a chance to score a couple touchdowns on them. We showed it and didn't block it exactly correctly. We left guys running, but just to pure excitement, I think it uplifted us in practice too. When the guys were seeing that in practice, man, it was like, you know, you over there, you watching practice, and then you see a throwback, and then you see Big Jordan Thomas running. Everybody like, whoa, what's going on? Like, this is what we're doing? Yes, this is what we're doing. And I'm telling the team, and you can see the excitement building, and just like, okay, we serious about this. And that's what you want. And I actually got that. Try to tell the team what we're doing. So if something happens, nobody's surprised, and we don't have the pointing fingers. And that's one of the things I really love about Bill Belichick. I like about Bill. Like, we knew when we were going to go for it, kind of how the game plan was going to be, offense, defense, special teams. So when stuff didn't go the way that you wanted to go, you wasn't surprised, and you start bickering amongst yourself. And that's what I want to be able to eliminate.
And a quick follow-up. You mentioned Bill Belichick as one of your inspirations, but as a fellow Seminole, how much inspiration do you take from Coach Bowden?
Oh, I mean, he's the role model for me on how to act as a coach, as a person, with your faith. Like, who you talk about all the time, like all the players. It's two people. We got all the coaches, everybody been in Florida State, but Florida State to me is Bobby Bowden and Mick Andrews. Now, obviously, Mick Andrews is Coach Andrews, a little bit different than Coach Bowden. He would tell you that. But the love and appreciation for both of them is kind of my inspiration of what I'm doing. The hardness, the toughness of Coach Andrews, and just the overall, the CEO, the head coach, and how you handle yourself with Coach Bowden is second to none. I mean, there's nobody that I've seen coach all that can stack up against Coach Bowden. And I still call him Coach Bowden. It's like, you know how you want to say, like every now and then I say Coach Andrews, Mickey Andrews, with Coach Andrews, but it's like, I can't even really say Bobby Bowden, which I just said it, but it's Coach Bowden.
Coach, with your kind of well, I mean, you having played DB, that's kind of where came up and grew up with the game. You, of course, know certainly better than I the concept of the short memory that DBs must have, and usually it's associated with getting beat on a long pass or something like that. But would you say that this DC victory is an instance where short memory is necessary?
Well, it's just a process, and I would say this. I would. And I tell this to the DBs. I correct you on, I was a DB and I played. I was a football player that my skill set and body just happened to put me at DB. I mean, I played every position.
Oh, I wasn't trying to limit you, Coach.
No. And so you just know my nickname is Baby Dan Marino, self-giving, of course. But that's a part of, I think, the fabric of any special athlete. I just mentioned Michael Jordan missing shots. You see Stephen Curry, not Steph no more. He missed shot, keep shooting. You just watch the women's basketball. You had Caitlin just shooting the lights out, which I was impressed. I was about to get me a Caitlin shirt. And then you have Angela over there with LSU doing. It's just one of those that you see special players. And they just keep shooting or keep hitting. One of the greatest things I ever seen in sports is Barry Bonds' patience at the plate. Where he would wait on one pitch. I've never seen Jerry Rice, the greatest football player ever. I love the best, greatest hitter, baseball player guy. Barry Bonds with patience. on base percentage of 7. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? Who does that? Who can sit there and wait and tap, ball, and wait on that one pitch and bam. Now, everybody got their own opinions, but those are little things for me that I look at and I appreciate in other athletes. Just being a golfer, you think about Tiger and what being able to close. I mean, being able to win week after week. I mean, one point it was like 40 every one out of 2-3 tournaments. It's unheard of. And you try to figure out like what makes them tick and how does that happen? And I'll just tell you the guy, I'll talk about the greatest football player. And I got all my rankings. And Bo Jackson probably gonna be mad at me. I just talk it out on the golf course. But the greatest athlete is Deion. To me, it ain't even close. And for me, you go and I'm following him just personally, like, okay. And I should tell him, you made it to the big leagues. I didn't make it to the big leagues. You Super Bowl, you played wide receiver during Super Bowl. I just played in the regular season. So the things that I would like to have done, he actually did them. And you can only appreciate that and did them at a high level. If I was picking a team, special DBs, Deion, he would be my first pick. I would be the second pick, but he would be the first pick. I would be the second pick.
Couple more here, guys, then we got to let Coach go.
All right. Terrell, real quick, what side of the head do you have the bump?
On the right.
On the right?
My left side.
Or left side. Okay. And second of all, how many text messages did you get? Congratulations.
My gosh. I want to say it was in the hundreds, which is really, really, I was really appreciative. And I got back to everybody. Yeah. Even I don't really like to answer the numbers that I don't have locked in no more. That means you're not locked in no more. It means, right? We probably ain't talked in about a decade. and why do you still have my number? Oh man, but yeah, it was very exciting. And just you know how you text and you're like, man, who is this? Thanks, Derek Jeter. Thanks,
Coach, you named.
Hopefully, I'm gonna try to we put some pressure on Derek Jeter to get down. I hope he can make it to the game.
Did you just name drop Derek Jeter? You got a congratulations text there?
Well, we talked. I mean, he hadn't texted me, but I know he verbally said congratulations. So I'm gonna take that like through the air.
There you go.
But I am gonna reach out to him today and see can he make it this week.
He's got that. He's got his X card, so
Yes. So yeah, I'm name drop. We can name drop a little bit sometime.
There you go. Anything else?
Coach, it was a privilege today. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Looking forward to this week, Coach. Have a good one.
Yes.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.